and who sends down rain from the sky in measured amounts, and we revive thereby a dead land. Thus you will be brought forth. Meaning, just as you see plants coming out of the earth after rain falls, similarly, a rain will fall and you will come out of the earth also. The Prophet ﷺ said that between the two sounds of the trumpet, because we learned that on the Day of Judgment, as the Day of Judgment will begin, it will begin by the blowing of the trumpet. And the trumpet will be blown 2 times. So between the two sounds of the trumpet, there will be 40. How long is that 40? 40 days, 40 months, 40 years, Allahu A'lam. But then Allah will send water from the sky, and the dead bodies will grow like vegetation grows. The Prophet ﷺ said, there is nothing of the human body that does not decay except one bone. Meaning, no matter how much the body has been disintegrated, there is still one small part of the body that will remain, that is unbreakable, that will not finish. And that is the little bone at the end of the coccyx, which is a small bone at the end of the spinal column. Now it's possible that only a tiny amount of that remains, Allahu A'lam. And we know DNA traces can be found even millions of years later. Isn't that so? I mean, it's possible. Anyway, this is of course Allah's creation. He can do whatever He pleases. And He said that from this, the human body will be created on the day of resurrection. It will grow. كَذَلِكَ تُخْرَجُونَ. And who created the species, all of them, and has made for you of ships and animals, those which you mount. لِتَسْتَوُوا عَلَى ظُهُورِهِ ثُمَّ تَذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ رَبِّكُمْ إِذَا اسْتَوَيْتُمْ عَلَيْهِ وَتَقُولُوا سُبْحَانَ الَّذِي سَخَّرَ لَنَا هَذَا وَمَا كُنَّا لَهُ مُقْرِنِينَ وَإِنَّا إِلَى رَبِّنَا لَمُنْقَلِبُونَ. That you may settle yourselves upon their backs, and then remember the favor of your Lord when you have settled upon them. And you should say, exalted is He who has subjected this to us, and we could not have otherwise subdued it. And indeed we to our Lord will surely return. Allah Himself taught us what we should say when we ride a vehicle. This is how we should make our travel time productive. By remembering Allah, by ibadah, instead of getting bored, right? And getting weary of travel time, and basically waiting to just somehow kill that time. Because if you think about it, commute is something that you cannot get rid of. Can you? You cannot. Like for example, every day you have to go, for example, take your children to school, you have to. And if one way takes 10 minutes or 15 minutes, that means every day, drop and pick up and drop and pick up. You're spending at least an hour in the car. Can you imagine? 1 hour out of 24 hours are being spent in the car. Should that time be wasted? Should it be killed? Should it be destroyed? No. Make use of that time. How? By making that travel time also an ibadah. How do we turn that into an act of worship? By saying this dhikr that Allah has taught us. By saying this dua that Allah has taught us. By remembering Allah at that time. Otherwise what will happen? The daily commute, we get so bored of it, we say, forget about it. Don't go today. Take a day off. Or just listen online. Right? This is what we think about. That just take it easy. But, an hour in the car daily, that is a great opportunity to do ibadah, to worship Allah. And this is beautiful, that whatever we ride, right? Subhanalladhi sakhara lana hada. Anything that we ride on, Allah in reality has subjected that for us. Whether it is a camel, a donkey, a horse, a car, an airplane, a bike, a roller coaster, whatever it is that we are sitting on and it's moving, it's because Allah subjected that for us. If it was not for the laws that Allah has created, we could never have shaped a car the way it is shaped. And it's amazing how you just turn the key and you just hit gas and the car moves. How? If Allah did not provide us with this gas or with electricity, right? Then how would we drive our cars? If there was no energy that could be taken from gas, how would we have all of these vehicles? So immediately, no matter what you're sitting on, a fancy car or an old bus, an airplane, whatever it is, a train, anything. Remember, this is Allah's favor. Subhanalladhi sakhara lana hada. Otherwise, it's very easy to feel proud about what we're sitting in. I mean, it's amazing how a person could be sitting in an old plane, small, smelly, but what happens? They're so proud. Oh, I'm sitting in a plane. Right? Or a person could be sitting in a car, and that could be like 15 years old. But just because if it's of a certain make, it's very easy to feel proud about it. So remember, Allah is the one who bestowed this favor. And وَإِنَّا إِلَىٰ رَبِّنَا لَمُنْقَلِبُونَ, we are going to return to our Lord. Every trip, every journey, every drive, every ride should remind us of this. That just as we started the car and then we go park it, right? Similarly, we are going to die one day. And this journey of life will come to an end when my body will be parked. Where? In the grave. So, وَإِنَّا إِلَىٰ رَبِّنَا لَمُنْقَلِبُونَ. So you see, commute also, it really teaches us lessons if we take time to reflect. وَجَعَلُوا لَهُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ جُزْءًا. But they have attributed to him from his servants a portion. Indeed, man is clearly ungrateful. All blessings, Allah gives him. And what does he do in return? Man, he forgets Allah. Or has he taken out of what he has created daughters and chosen you for having sons? Because the mushrikeen of Arabia, they used to say that the angels are Allah's daughters. And they themselves did not want daughters at all. So Allah is criticizing that. That doesn't mean that it's okay to ascribe sons to Allah. But basically, their concept is being criticized, that how could you even think about this? And when one of them is given good tidings of that which he attributes to the most merciful in comparison, meaning a daughter, he's given good news of the birth of a daughter. He ascribes daughters to Allah, but when he's told, you just had a baby girl, his face becomes dark and he suppresses grief. أَوَمَن يُنَشَّأُ فِي الْحِلْيَةِ وَهُوَ فِي الْخِصَامِ غَيْرُ مُبِينٍ. He thinks that one who is brought up in ornaments, that now we'll have to spend so much on her, and then let her go, while being during conflict unevident. Meaning, daughter, what do you think about her? Girls, what do you think about them? That they're useless. Because for Arabs, girls were useless, they were a burden. Why? Because they could not fight in battles. They had to be protected instead. You understand? So this is why having girls was a liability for the Arabs. And also, not just battle, khisam can also be understood as an argument. Because generally what happens to girls? This is typical of women, that when it comes to an argument, many women, they start crying after a few minutes of arguing. Right? Especially when they argue with their brothers. I don't know what happens with the husband though. Right? That she can argue and argue and argue with the husband there, she doesn't cry. Some women do. But for some reason, they become very confident when arguing with their husbands. Anyway, women are not being criticized over here. The opinion of the mushrikeen concerning women is being criticized over here. And the fact that they don't like girls themselves, and then they attribute girls to Allah, that this does not make sense according to even your own standards. What are you doing? Think about what you're doing. But in this is a lesson for us, that what is it that we like for ourselves, and what is it that we like for the deen of Allah? What is it that we like for our own houses? And what is it that we like for the house of Allah? Generally, we choose the best for ourselves. And what is it that we bring for the sake of Allah? For Allah's deen, that which is discarded. And they have made the angels, who are servants of the most merciful, females. Did they witness their creation? Meaning, have they seen their bodies? How do they know that the angels are female? Their testimony will be recorded, and they will be questioned. Meaning, what a person says without tahqiq, without evidence, without research, without confirmation, then he's answerable to Allah for that. Therefore, a person must be very careful before he speaks about anything. And they said, if the most merciful had willed, we would not have worshipped them. They blame Allah. They have of that no knowledge. How do you know that Allah willed that for you? They are not but falsifying. Or have we given them a book before the Qur'an, to which they are adhering? Meaning, what proof do they have? Rather they say, indeed we found our forefathers upon a religion, and we are in their footsteps rightly guided. Meaning they're only blindly following their customs and traditions.